Well, hello friends. Welcome back to the channel. It's Angela, the Traveling Crafter. If you are new here, welcome. I enjoy doing videos for paper crafting, including junk journaling and everything in between, mixed media and such. Wherever the spirit moves me, I also enjoy thrifting for vintage treasures and, of course, traveling. Well, here's what I was doing. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit because I think closer I can get the better. There we go. I was cleaning out. I had a bag full of antique buttons, and I was going to use them for a project. And as I was going through them, I found a few things that I thought, I'm just going to hop on here. We're going to do a 5-minute craft. And we're simply going to cover some of these buttons. Well, as I was pulling these apart, first of all, I just wanted to take a moment to show you this. I think this would be spectacular. Spectacular. I've gotten rid of my sample signature, so let's just grab something really quick. I'm sorry. All right, we'll just take this pink piece of paper here. We'll pretend like this is a page in a journal. But I think this is a antique piece of card with all the original buttons, and I just think this would make an amazing belly band. Just this by itself for a sewing journal or a homemaking journal. I love it. So I'm setting that aside to use when the spirit moves me. But what I also found, and now of course I covered it, there were a few of these wooden buttons. This is more like a bead than a button, and then this was a button made from, here you can see it on the back, made from an old piece of cardboard, maybe leftovers from, so here are the ones that we have that were in there. Maybe it was leftover from one of the boards that the cards came on. I don't know. But I decided to cover it, and I just used a little bit of napkin. And then here's one that was like this that I just covered with a little bit of napkin. So I thought, well, let's do a couple of these, and I'll show you how I made them. And then I just made a few more cardboard ones. And what I did is these are 2 pieces of cardstock put together. So all I did was pop them out and then just glued them together like such. Whoa, I went a little crazy on that one. That was all there is to it. And then I just popped the holes in them. And to do that, we'll wait till this dries. But, well, here, I can do it on one that's already dry. Let's move this up a bit. That one needs to dry. Here we go. Here's the 2 that I did. And at first I just freehanded it, which was fine. But then I just, on the second one, I simply just eyeballed. That's not exactly in the middle, but you get the gist. This one's a little bit harder for me to do because it's not... It's a little bit harder to see because it's upside down, but this is still on here, But I think we can do it. Ta-da. And that one needs to move over a little bit. All right. So you don't need to worry about cleaning off the pencil. But I did take my stylus just to make those holes just a smidgy bigger. And this little end right here makes it possible to do that. And then I just popped them in there like that. So that's all I did to make those. But if you wanted to make your own, like this little guy that I found, that's how you would do it. All right, so very quickly, we're going to, and you could always cover it first and then poke the holes in it too, but I think you probably have a lot less chance of ruining your napkin if you punch the holes first. Now, all I did on these wooden ones, and I just used Fabri-Tac in this case. You could use Mod Podge, which would also be perfectly fine. But I had this handy, and I just kind of spread the glue with my finger. And then immediately wiped it off because I don't like to get all yucky and dirty. And then we just need to decide what part of this we want to use. And I'm feeling like maybe a little of the flower and the post, the word, where it says the postal. So maybe we just plop it right there. And then all I did was, I'm just going to trim it just to get rid of all this excess here. Move that aside. And then I just kind of went around. Hopefully this will show once it's dry, because now pretty much it's just that you can see the words, but it's still pretty wet. And then I just took my scissors and I went pretty close here. But this is a great thing if you want to, what you could do is you could cover an entire sheet of paper, a cardstock, with napkin, and maybe you do it like collage style, and then punch your circles. I think that would work perfectly fine as well. But the only thing you'll have to be just a little bit cautious of is when you punch your holes to make sure your napkin doesn't tear. But that would be another way to do it, another little quick way to do it. And then I just pulled this all over the edge so it was covered. And that was all, that's all there is to it, friends. But another, quick little way to add some style to otherwise boring buttons. Now, what you could do with something like this, if you wanted to leave it in its natural state, and that will, it'll look more like this when you're done, because that needs to all dry. And I wouldn't suggest putting the hole in it right now because there's 2 little holes and it's pretty wet. So just wait, and then you can just use a needle or whatever. Well, heck, we'll just do it and I'll show you so you know where they're at. There you go. And it's done. It's done. All right. Now, what you could do is, if you like this wood look, you could just take some of your Distress ink and zhuzh it up a little bit. And that's fine too. Maybe we'll leave that one like that because that's kind of pretty. But let's do a couple of these. This with a couple other things instead of just napkins. So this is some Tim Holtz tissue. I have some regular tissue paper, and then I have a couple more pieces of leftover napkin as well. So you just want to make sure that's pretty well covered. And with this paper, you don't have to necessarily rub it around with your finger. Let's see, we got plenty of these. Let's do a couple. Now I am, because I did poke larger holes into these with my stylus, I'm making sure that the flat side is down just to make it a little more flush on the page. Okay, let's set that aside for a second. And let's use this piece of tissue. And again, this is the flat side down. This has little bumps on it because it poked through with the stylus. And you just want to make sure you have enough glue on it at the ends, on the edge, I should say, so that it kind of all gets across there. Put that aside for a second. We have 2 more that don't have holes in them. Do we dare? You know what? Here's what we're going to do with these. All we're going to do with these, we're not going to make these into buttons. We're going to make these into little, we can make these into dangles. So let's not put any holes in them. And then we have another use for these. Let's see. I do love that little girl on there. Those little girls. There we go. We'll set that one aside. We have one left. I'm feeling like we want to use... let's use that. So once again, I'm just going to do... I feel like we might be able to get one more out of this with that stamp on it. Whoa. Got a little out of control. I hope you guys are having a great day. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you consider doing so if you enjoy some relaxing crafting time. When I'm not doing videos and tutorials and hauls, I spend a great deal of time on the Makers Market, which I am the owner and founder of at district.net/Makers Market. I'm just going to go, I think we can go around this like this. Here's what we're going to do with this one. Cut around it. And then if we want this to be a dangle, we probably need it two-sided, right? So let's put it right here. And that is a kind of, it's a community where we chat, we show our work. It's kind of like, think Etsy, Facebook, Instagram, all in one. We can message each other. We can do group chats. We can do collaborations. We can buy items, destash, or if you're an artist of any kind, it does not have to be paper crafting. We can sell those on the Makers Market. We can buy things if we're looking for things. We can ask for things that we're in search of so that other artists can be on the lookout and maybe they have something that you're needing on hand. It's just a really cool community. So I hope you go check it out. And it's just district.net, and then the name is in the description, /Makers Market. I should not be doing this now, but because this is meant to be a quick video, look how cute that's going to be when it dries. And there's the back. All it was just white. Cardstock and some tissue, or some napkin. So I'm really behind in I'm always ahead in my videos. So if I talk about something and it seems sometimes like it's in real time, oftentimes I film my videos quite a ways in advance just because of my time constraints. So I do love your comments and I do read them all. And if you have questions or you want me to showcase a comment or idea or question in my craft and chats when we do those, a lot of times I will go live on the Makers Market as well as here because you can simulcast on both platforms. So I love to be able to interact with you, and you guys can chat and comment, but then I can answer questions there as well. So look how cute those are. So we did those. This was I'll use this for something else, but just a spool. And you could do something as cute as, add something like that to the top. Wouldn't that be cute, like to make into like a little mushroom if it had like a red top on it with polka dots? I don't know. It'd be cute. All right, we're going to get rid of that napkin, and we're going to see what this looks like. This was the tissue paper. And I think the first one I did, this had more of a lip on it, so I did kind of give a little bit of leeway so I could wrap it around it, but this really doesn't need it. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of vintage buttons or colorful buttons, there you go. Now it's ready to roll. Easy peasy. this might be a project for you. Make your own buttons. These are going to be fun to see what they look like, aren't they? We've made some other button projects in the past, but I just thought, well, I'm here. I was playing around with them. They were laying on my desk. I've got some things that I can use these in, and why not? Here we go. Let's poke this through. And I'm using the small end of my stylus. There we go. That one's ready for some string. And last but not least, this is one I'm most excited about. These will just go in with my scraps. So simple. A quick 5-minute craft. You could make 100 of these and just sit by the TV and cover them up. And like I said, if you want to mass make them, just make all of yours, take your cardstock, do that first, and then punch out all your oh, why does that seem so? There we go. And then you could use black ink to kind of define it a little bit. Ta-da! We just made a whole bunch of cute little buttons, and then I'd get my baker's twine or these still aren't dry yet, but these will be cute dangles. So we've got those two. We've got those. These I'm loving. And then the ones that I made before. Super cute, easy little project. Maybe you have some, buttons that are just kind of plain and blah, and you can take those and turn them into something super, super cute. I hope you enjoyed this quick 5-minute craft, and we will see you next time. Until then, remember to take time to just be. Love you to the moon. Bye-bye.